Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Terrence. I am the host of this show. You're seeing the very first ever episode of Now That's the Truth. In this episode, we're just going to talk more about the show, what the episodes are going to look like, what my mission and purpose is, and what you, the viewer, can get out of watching these. So stay tuned and enjoy. Welcome back. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you like these episodes, please share them with your friends and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to talk more about the whole purpose of this podcast and why I'm doing it. First of all, I thought I'd share with you the mission statement. Mission statement is to provide entertaining content that causes viewers to consider and think about ideas of truth. Episodes will present truth as understandable and simplified while providing answers and talking points on challenging topics in order to encourage and build up Christians who want to share truth with others. Is that you? Have you wanted to share truth with others but were a little bit afraid to, or quite frankly didn't know where to start? Well, then this podcast could be the one for you. One of the things that got me interested in starting this podcast in the first place, got me just excited about it, is that I'm kind of just tired of the lies from the world, and really the lies from the world going unchecked. That it seems as though people in our culture can say whatever they want to say, and no one raises their hand and just says, "Excuse me, are you sure about that? Have you heard this?" We just allow them to say what they want to say and think what they want to think. And right now, I think there's a culture, especially younger people, that are looking for something. That they're not pleased with the answers they're getting from the world. People are seeking something spiritually, religiously. They're looking for answers. And this just might be our opportunity, folks. This just might be our opportunity to talk about truth and show those people who are lost the direction, the way home. So, if you are a person who wants to reach the lost with truth, stay tuned. This will be the show for you. Now, if we're going to do that, we need to talk about who is the lost. Who are the lost? If we're going to talk about reaching the lost, we need to know who the lost are. Now, when you think of this idea of the lost, you might be thinking of that parable Jesus told about the lost sheep. How Jesus left the 99 to go search for the one that was lost. You might think of the concept of the prodigal son. How he left home. Now, he was lost spiritually. He wasn't lost. He knew how to find his way home, but he probably for a while didn't want to find home because of his own pride, right? So whoever the lost is, we need to have a clear idea of what that person looks like. Now, what the person looks like physically, that person could be your coworker, your neighbor. It could be one of your very own family members. Who knows who that lost could be? But the key thing is that they're lost because they don't know where they're going, or they don't have the right directions. That could be someone, an example of being lost and not knowing where you're going. I can think of somebody who sets their GPS on their phone or in their car to take them where they want to go. They've set the instructions right there. They pull out of their driveway. Little do they know that as soon as their Wi-Fi disconnected from their home unit, all of a sudden, something went haywire. The phone needs a restart. I don't know. but it's not giving them the right directions anymore. They just keep going and going and going, not realizing that they're off track. Or in a case like me, this has happened before. I type into my phone where I want to go. I want to go to Monterey Bay Tea Company. Okay. And I set that in there. We're going to go have a cup of tea. And I go along. Little do I know, it's sending me to Monterey Bay Coffee Shop and Tea. And I don't find out until I've been driving for a half an hour and I finally get to my destination and I realize I'm nowhere near where I want to be. That's kind of like the lost, right? They're following a set of instructions, directions. And maybe they got those directions, who knows where from. They're just trusting it. They're trusting that it's going to get them where they want to go. And sometimes it's not till the very end of the journey that they realize, this isn't where I want to be. I think that's kind of the way the lost are. Also, sometimes the lost can be someone that has an idea that they're off track, maybe like a cultural Christian or something like that, but that just doesn't want to ask for instructions, has problems reaching out to a God who wants them to let go and trust him. And that's something we need to do as well. The lost can be a ton of people. It could be a guy going to your church. It's just someone that is not using the correct instructions to get them where they need to go. That's the lost. So, as you're thinking about the lost, you might be also thinking of this concept of the cultural chasm that we have right now. It's not just a cultural difference. They disagree with me on certain key issues, but now in our country, the cultural difference is so large, I have to call it a cultural chasm, because there's not only a distance between people politically and spiritually and in their worldview, but there's a complete lack of common ground. And so you might be thinking, I can't reach that person because there's nothing we have in common. Kind of like going to a friend's birthday party and you and this guy, you're buddies, you're friends. You guys can talk about your favorite sports teams, whatever it is. Now, this friend's invited a whole bunch of friends from his work, and he's an accountant. So you're sitting down there with him and some friends, and he has to go up to do something in the kitchen, and you're left here with people you don't know at all, and you really don't think you have much in common with, right? So it's just this awkward moment. You might think that talking with your neighbor about truth is going to be just that, this awkward moment where we have nothing to talk about. How can we start to talk about what we believe when we have nothing in common? Well, it might be difficult, but it is possible. We have to find some sort of common ground, some sort of common denominator. We've got to figure out what we can talk about and agree about if we're going to do that. What is that? Well, I believe the common ground we have is truth. That truth can be our common denominator. You might think I'm crazy. There's no way you guys can talk about truth because that guy, your neighbor, he has his own truth. Or you might say their truth is so much different than your truth, although you both have truth, that there's no common ground in that truth. Well, I get that concept, and I know where you're going, but I don't want to talk about that you guys share the same truth. I think that we can talk with someone else about truth because everyone believes in the concept of truth. What I mean is that if you ask your school teacher what's 6 plus 6, they're probably going to say 12. And I don't think there's going to be too many people that disagree with that. Ask a construction worker, what's 6 plus 6? 12. Ask, hopefully your doctor will know what 6 plus 6, 12. Ask a federal judge, what's 6 plus 6? Probably going to say, how am I supposed to know? I'm not a mathematician. Well, all joking aside, people do know this, right? Ask anyone what's 6 plus 6, they're going to say 12. Ask your accountant, what's 6 plus 6? Probably going to ask you, what do you want it to be? And that's good. That's an accountant that's looking out for you. That's good. But everyone understands it. I just don't think there's going to be anyone, even in Oregon. I'm from Oregon, so we're pretty far left in this state. But even in Oregon, on the far leftist side of the spectrum, I don't think there's any parent that's going to storm into their kid's school and demand that the teacher mark a question correct that he had previously marked as wrong because that's his kid's truth, right? The 6 plus 6 is 7. That's my kid's truth, so you have to honor it. No one's going to do that. So even though we may have different ideas about truth, we all believe in the concept of truth. But that's mathematical truth. Then there's scientific truth. And then is there moral truth? I think we can get into the weeds when we start trying to decipher what kind of truth is. We can speak truth to someone if we just talk about ideas. Just talk about ideas. This is your truth. This is my truth. It's okay. We can just talk. And then maybe we can convince someone that Christians aren't kooky, out there with these weird ideas, that we actually have thought about concepts of truth. I actually think that that's one of the struggles that the world has with accepting ideas of truth or even talking with a Christian about truth, because they have in their minds this preconceived idea that Christians don't know truth, that we have faith, they have science and truth, and that we are maybe seeking faith in order to avoid that truth, right? You might have heard that saying that religion is the opium of the masses. The Christians are just smoking the peace pipe and not accepting reality. Little do they know that truth is at the foundation of the Christian worldview. So why is it that the world thinks that way? I think maybe it's because that truth has never really been presented accurately to them. Think about another pretend example. How about you notice that all of your kids' classes in high school always talk about everything from an evolution standpoint. When they're talking about history, it's a history of man from when we used to be fish. Or this idea of Darwinian evolution, where a lightning bolt hit a cesspool of lava and primordial ooze, and pop, out came a living cell. You get all these concepts, and you just go to the principal at the school and you ask him, hey, are you guys going to cover any other worldview, like maybe the creationism worldview? And then the teacher, or I say the principal, then the principal says, of course your kid can learn about that worldview. They can take Myths and Ancient Religions 101. It's an elective class, and for like a week and a half they cover that. But you see where I'm going with this, that the world thinks of certain things as undeniable truth, and they think of Christianity as that myth and ancient religion, that belief. But every Christian that I know has done at least some research to verify and to validate what it is that we believe, from historical accuracy of the Bible to the scientific truths about where we came from. We're not sitting here making this stuff up. This is a truth that we believe best explains the world as we see it. So part of it's going to be able to present truth to an unbelieving, lost world, to help them, at least, if nothing else, to see that Christians aren't ones that are lost and smoking the opium peace pipe of the masses, but that we've actually thought about what it is we believe. If nothing else, that's a good start. If we can get there, then maybe that lost person will be more likely to trust us with advice sometime in the future. Now, also, why is truth so important? I'm going to tell you why I think truth is important. Is because, well, I think it's really best explained right here in Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, where C.S. Lewis was writing about people's idea of religion either being too complicated or too simple. Why would God make religion so complicated? And he writes right here of people's idea of God making religion simple. He writes, as if religion were something that God invented, and not his statement to us of certain quite unalterable facts about his own nature. I think C.S. Lewis hit that one spot on. That's what I, as a Christian, believe, that the Bible is not just God giving us a neat set of rules just to see if we'll follow them, but that actually God is trying to show us, teach us certain aspects of his character, unalterable facts about who he is, and also about his creation and about us because he made us. If that's what God's trying to do in his word, is to show us himself, then maybe we should listen, right? Now, also, Jesus said that he was truth, that he was the way, the truth, and the life. Now, Jesus, does that mean that he's just a really honest guy, a real good chap? You can trust him to tell the truth. Then probably Jesus would have said, I am truthful. But no, Jesus said he was the truth. What does that mean? I think it means that the very concept of truth comes from a God who is truth, and that God's trying to teach us about himself and about his world. I believe personally that in God's created world and in us as created beings, that there is an order and a method, and that he just knows that if we follow certain instructions, we're gonna be better off, right? In life, we really do need the instructions. Have you ever received a gift, opened up the box, and didn't know what it was? I will admit, I've gotten one of those before. Maybe I'm not the brightest guy out there. But you got a friend, they get you that gift, and they're very excited about this. They know you're going to love it. But you open it up and you look at the box and you're kind of trying to figure out, what is this and what am I going to do with it? Now, luckily, the friend can see that questioning look in your eye, and they want to help you out. They open up that box and they show you how to use it right there. That's great. Now, also, I am a guy who likes Legos. That's right, Legos. And I do get, as a grown man, I do get Legos as a gift, and I love Legos. But as much as I might get the gift, open the box and see that picture, I know what it is. And I know what it's going to look like when I'm done building it. But oh my goodness sakes, am I glad there's instructions on how to build it in the box. Because as much as I know what it is, and I know what it's supposed to look like, there is no way in the world I can replicate the picture on the box without the instructions. Are you kidding me? Oh man. Well, what better place to get instructions but from the maker, from the designer himself? We Christians believe that God wants us to know how to live life. God wants us to be happy and blessed. He wants us to be profitable in our lives. And he has some advice on how we can do it. And if we follow his advice, we are going to be better off, right? Thus, I believe this truth comes from a God who is truth. That a moral truth comes from a moral God, a moral lawgiver. And if we simply go to him and ask for instructions, we're going to be better off if we get that instructions and follow them, right? Instead of trying to follow instructions taking us who knows where from the world, and then at the end of it all, think maybe we should have taken different instructions. That's our chance, folks. Now, aren't other podcasts doing this? Well, yeah, actually, there are some really great podcasts out there that are doing really, really great things. And I certainly don't want to detract from them, nor do I want you to feel like you got to watch this thing exclusively and forget all the other ones. Heavens above, no. I'm going to have some neat ideas and concepts and hopefully get you to think about concepts of truth in a different light, ways that might make it easier for us to spread that truth and share it with others. But I'm certainly not the only guy with any idea of truth. Not only are there some other great podcasts out there, but there are some podcasts that I think have some great content that and some books that I might recommend that you read that you can find on my webpage. If you go to my webpage, now that's thetruth.com, you can see some on the links page, links to other resources, to some articles that I think might be beneficial, links to other ministries that I think you should check out, or also to some books that might be beneficial that I'm going to talk about in some future episodes. So I don't think there's no other great content out there. I'm doing this because I want you to think about truth kind of through a different lens. Think about truth and really, really think it through to make sure we've thought of all the answers, how we can really have confidence in that truth. And we've also thought about how the world might view that truth, so we can be ready to present that truth to them and be ready for any questions that they may have. That's what I want us to do, is prepare us with that truth and maybe talk about that with some of your friends. Maybe even have some mock conversations. If you were to talk to that neighbor about truth, how might the conversation go? And if you come up with some questions that we didn't really address in whatever episode it is that I'm talking about, in one of those future episodes, and you can actually contact me on my website. Now, that's thetruth.com. You can go there, there's a contact me page, just reach out and ask that question, and then we can talk about it in a future episode. The idea is I want us to be ready with truth instead of shocked and surprised when we're asked questions about our truth and we don't have the answer. So, there are other podcasts that are doing great stuff, but I also wanted to do this podcast because I think there are some out there. Let's just be honest. There are some podcasts that are either just so negative, painting the other side of this cultural chasm as freaks, as idiots, as dummies. Speaking of them in ways that if you did get a chance to reach them, you watch too many of those podcasts, so you don't know what to say because you're so mad at them for thinking the way they think. Well, that's the exact opposite thing we want to do. Geez, maybe someone doesn't have the truth, but that doesn't make them an idiot. Let's just be honest. We've all fallen for stuff in this life that wasn't true. Not like somebody in some sort of exclusive club because they fell for a trick. We all have. So what makes us different than them? Not a whole heck of a lot, other than that we hopefully have truth and they're following the wrong instructions. That's the only thing that makes us different. I think one of the key things if we want to reach people on the other side is that we need to see them as in many ways equal to us. Not as the bad guy, but as just someone who has followed different instructions. And if we see them through the right lens, then it helps us to want to reach them. That's what I want to do. So many of the podcasts out there, instead of attempting to bridge this gap and reach people on the other side, they're just sitting on one side of this cultural chasm, pointing at the other side and laughing, mocking them. And I don't see anyone trying to bridge this gap so that we can reach them. That's what I want this podcast to be, is us reaching someone on the other side. Because if it wasn't for someone sharing truth with me, I'd be that guy on the other side. Now that's the truth. Well, thanks again so much for tuning in. I really appreciate your time. Remember, if you like these episodes, please subscribe on my YouTube channel and share these with your little buddies. Each episode is going to be talking about a lie, a statement from the world, that we believe is not truth. We want to take a look at that, analyze it, and figure out how we know it's not true. And then what real truth is, find real truth and give you guys the talking points and tactics on how you could better share that with folks and be ready for the trick questions they may ask. If you want to do that, if you want to go on this journey with me, keep watching, stay tuned to future episodes. Also, please, you can go to my website, nowthatsthetruth.com. If you go to my website, you can browse that and learn a little bit more about the podcast. You can also take a look at the links page. I mentioned that, where you can see information about other ministries, some articles I might find interesting that I want you to see. And then also some books that I think might be beneficial. And I might mention some of those books in some future episodes, where you can purchase those books through a link on my page. Now, if you do use the link on my website, it will take you to a Amazon page where I will make a little bit of money if you purchase through me. If you don't want to do that, you can just purchase the book on your own. But some great resources that you might want, you could find those on my website. Also, there is a subscribe button on my website. If you subscribe on my website, it's different than the YouTube subscription. But if you subscribe, I was talking too fast right there. If you subscribe on my website, then you'll be able to participate in some polls and surveys so I can get some feedback on what my viewers think for upcoming episodes. You can also be informed on what's happening with the ministry and what upcoming episodes are looking like. So please do that. I don't know if I mentioned that. It was nowthatsthetruth.com. That's the website. So check that one out. Now also, and let you know right now about some of the next two episodes, I want to tackle, before we move on to some more specific topics, I really want to tackle some of the biggest things that prevent people who may have a little bit of information about truth, or what paralyzes us sometimes and prevents us from sharing that truth. We've got a couple of those episodes. We're going to talk about those concepts. In the next episode, and you can watch it right now, is the idea how we're just afraid to talk with people about truth, about Christianity, because we're afraid of being labeled something from the world. Specifically, I got one. We don't want to be called intolerant. Well, have some more fun talking about that word, the definition, and other things we might be labeled as in the next episode. Once again, thanks so much for tuning in. It was fun. See you next time.